You're listening to
Hot Sauce Sports with Mo Cohen, Peeze and Terry Tam.
I now know that I'm on with a spy, depending on who's the captain of this ship. That's probably a bad thing if this podcast is supposed to go viral, isn't it?
Cordero Patterson like grabbing some shanks, gentlemen here, and I quote, "I'm a grown man. I don't need nobody blank in my balls, my face."
In my teenage years, I'd get back from high school, I'd smash 2 pizza pockets. Carmelo Anthony never learned you can't live life just smashing pizza pockets.
Because he lost a double bet, what I did is I cut a jalapeno in half, and I filled it with hot sauce. So he's going to have to slurp this down.
Why you give me a fucking banana, dude? I'm not eating a banana. I'll rather piss in my mouth than eat this.
Okay, so there we go. Stop stalling. Let's go. Go.
Now, here are your hosts, Mo, Terry, and Peeze.
Welcome, everyone. It is episode 9. I am Peeze Del Rees. You can, of course, find me at PeaseFBF on Twitter. Also, we're at Hot Sauce Sports pretty much everywhere.
Hot Sauce Sports.
Just find us at Hot Sauce Sports. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter for all your social media needs. We do send as much news and as much noise as possible at you throughout the day. We have a great show ahead of us. We're going to talk to Andy McNamara. He's with TSN 1050 and TSN 4 Downs. We're going to talk to Mark Dumont of the Montreal Gazette and the Athletic. Double feature, Terry.
Yes, double feature, double dash.
Terry Tam, the Terror Bear.
At Terry Tam.
The Terror. To my left, he's my partner in crime. What's going on, buddy?
How's it going, man? I'm so happy that we're at 9. I didn't think Duke would have made it this long.
I know. He's cracking, though.
Yeah,
the alcohol level is rising.
We got a drink for number 10, though.
Oh, yeah.
And number 10 is right before the Not Sauce for Work episode 2.
Yes, sir.
So it's going to be perfect timing. And we're getting hammered for Not Sauce for Work.
You know it.
On air.
Of course, our producer, the Eagle Master Control, joins Duke in the production side of the podcast.
What's up,
I
boys?
think next week people will be able to see Duke, is what I've heard. That's the rumors.
Yeah.
We're Studio's expanding.
Nobody wants to see it.
Yeah,
well, I want to see you today with that little scarf you got going on there. If Eagle can set it up, I don't think so. Just come on camera.
Okay.
Come here.
Cristiano Ronaldo, Terry.
What about him?
He's been ordered to pay a 19 million euro fine by Madrid court to avoid going to jail.
Yeah.
If you're serving less than 24 months, you can pay to not go to jail. It's like you can pay if you get a jail
anywhere in the world?
Nope,
Just in
Spain.
In Spain.
Or maybe not just in Spain, but in Spain for sure. For tax fraud, it appears as though he's going to do that. He's going to pay it. Yeah. And Ronaldo, who's also facing sexual assault charges, has been potentially quoted as saying that he felt that the government was too grabby with his funds.
Heyo. Look at that.
Sources also close to the situation say he will not be on the next Gillette ad.
Of course. I get it because of that stupid Gillette.
I think Leo Messi had the same kind of thing going on.
He did, yeah.
And he was on a Gillette ad previously.
And everybody hated on... No, let's make clear. He never had any sexual assault towards Leo Messi.
Should have clarified. I'm sorry.
And everybody was hating on him, saying like, "Oh, see, Ronaldo doesn't have any tax problems." Comparing the two, and look what happened.
Well, I mean, he does, and what he did was worse than not paying.
Yeah. I mean, other stuff, extracurriculars, I guess.
But how do you not pay $19 million in tax? Do I have the story?
I think that's the fine. I don't know how much he owed in taxes.
Yeah.
But he
probably owed like...
Also, it's not tax evasion, it's tax fraud.
So he probably tried to lie about how many sponsors he actually got or how many sponsors he paid or whatever the fuck he did. You know what? Some accountants, they just suck.
Yeah.
You know? Some accountants, they just don't know what they're doing. And then the person that gets the shit is not the accountant. It is the athlete or the player or the person who invested his money.
He failed to pay $17.1 million in taxes between 2011 to 2014.
An extra $2 million.
There you go.
A guy who's going to need an accountant hard is Suns guard Devin Booker. Did you hear about this? No. He knocked up his high school sweetheart and an Instagram model.
Same time?
Yeah. Around the same time he was dating one of the Jenner's close friends.
Okay.
Whose name I forget.
One of the janitor's close friends?
One of the Jenners.
The Jenners?
Yeah.
Which Jenner?
And one who's not a janitor.
Okay.
You can get the
no
names.
Jenners
Would be great because that story broke as we were breaking another story. Because I want to talk about he actually chased T-Wolves Georgie Dang down the tunnel. And this concludes our Suns and T-Wolves coverage for the season. That's the last time they'll be.
That's the last time we're ever going to talk about them. Yeah, I saw that fight. It was crazy.
Yeah, apparently Georgie Dang was the latest to make fun of Devin Booker for saying he would build a super team in Phoenix. And that's
Super
so-
team in Phoenix.
Jordan Woods.
You can't build a super,
Jordan Woods. Yeah, that's the friend of which Jenner? Kylie Jenner.
Kylie Jenner.
Yeah.
So you can't build a super team in Phoenix when there's nothing super about them. When they're all 19 years old.
Yeah. So
I mean-
they're super in how young they are and how much money he's going to have to pay for the child support.
Exactly.
Larry Fitzgerald has announced that he will be returning to the Arizona Cardinals for this upcoming season.
Possible trade bait.
Greatest ass in the NFL.
It will be-
It's fucking nice.
Bounce.
Yeah. It's got no. I saw a picture of Edelman this week.
Yeah, no, he's packing.
Edelman's got a.
He's packing ham.
Yeah, he's
straight
got
ham.
first team all body Edelman,
yeah.
man. That guy's he's got some hams in there.
So this will be Larry Fitzgerald's 16th season in the NFL, which means it is now too old for R. Kelly to date.
Yeah, play that little slow clap again.
So that brings us to the news. Just because I see Eagle getting uncomfortable. Terry, man, we had a great weekend of football.
Oh man, it was fucking good.
Like if you,
I caught this
were
ball.
like me,
It was so nice.
if you get erections from football gave you an erection this weekend.
It did because I was able to spend 6 hours of my life either playing and watching it,
Yeah.
and I enjoyed every second of it, and it was fucking amazing. Especially that Chiefs Patriots game. That Chiefs Patriots game gave me heart attacks the entire time. We were at a bar after playing football, and it was packed. And everybody was losing their mind. Most people were rooting for the Chiefs, for the two Pats fans in the crowd. It was fun. It was fun to rip on them. Why does everybody hate the Pats so much?
I think it's just when you've been successful for so long,
Yeah.
that's what happens.
And there's always an asterisk. I mean, Deflategate. Oh no, my ball is less pumped than yours. You're cheating. Fuck you, man.
Yeah, we spent like 6 months investigating error. Like,
It's fucking stupid.
how dumb are sports fans?
Oh my god, man.
I mean, but not too dumb to listen to this show.
yeah, I mean, you guys are so smart. Not our sports fans.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, not ours.
Smartest fans in
Not
sports.
our 102.
But I will say the times where they are the dumbest.
103.
The times that they are the dumbest is when you're messaging the wrong D Ford. And this
Who's the other D Ford?
is a random woman in England.
Backstory.
It was kind of funny.
Backstory.
So D Ford is a
The defensive lineman?
defensive lineman on the linebacker
Chiefs.
near for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
He was lined up offside on a play that was intercepted.
Really offside by the way.
Well, Tom Brady may or may not have lasers all over his face. Strange kind of pornography, that one. But he lined up offside and then negated an interception that would have ended the game.
Exactly.
So
Whose fault is that?
lots of people, I guess, coaching, referees for looking too
Clearly
hard.
the woman in England.
Yeah. So the woman in England, though, but she was pretty awesome. She took it in stride. She answered a lot of those tweets. Was literally making fun of every single one. And a lot of them were like, "I'm sorry, I landed offside. I've had this trouble all season."
She did, yeah?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
It was pretty good. It was really enjoyable.
Fuck, I love that.
She wrote at one point on Twitter, she's like, "I'm really happy a lot of this happened while I was sleeping." So
Imagine you open your Twitter. Let me see what Donald Trump said, something stupid, and then you open it, you have like 4,000 notifications.
No, but even direct messages on Facebook.
That's fucked up.
DMs,
And she
straight
posted
DMs.
all of them. It was awesome.
But on Facebook, your picture's there.
Yeah. And like she wrote to one of them, "I'll give you a moment while you look at my timeline."
And it's about what to make tonight, what to make your family for dinner. Not, hey, how am I gonna sack Tom Brady this weekend?
But maybe if D Ford was less focused on dinner, he would have lined up on side.
yeah. Why don't you fucking suck on these balls instead of sucking those chestnuts you're gonna roast?
Getting roasted is the NFL officials this week.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because did you see this, Eagle? Can you cue up the video that we got where they
Play. We do have a penalty flag down,
the
however.
Madden one?
Let's see what that's about.
Pass interference, defense.
Even a game got it right.
So they saw the contact before the ball arrived. Penalty flag for pass interference.
And trying to avoid pass interference is so difficult. You're trying to slow down these skilled receivers, and somehow
Trying to avoid it is so difficult.
So
The ball's coming right to you. Instead, hey, I'm not going to go for the ball. I'm just going to hit the guy.
these refs, right? You think they're taking a cut from that?
I mean,
Like, come on, it was super
everybody's
blatant.
automatically going to assume that the refs were paid or there's some
There were
sort
like
of
three guys.
there's some sort of payoff or whatever. I get it, but like people make mistakes all the time.
Come on, though.
And is it a coincidence that the ref that was supposed to call it used to play for the Rams? Maybe. But I'm just too much of a, even though I do believe in a lot of conspiracy
I
theories.
was gonna say you of all people.
Yeah, I do believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. I also give benefit of the doubt to when somebody makes a mistake. I'm not going to say that he took a paycheck. I'm more likely to say that D Ford took a paycheck than I am that this ref took a paycheck.
Yeah.
Because to me,
the woman in England. You mean.
the woman in England, exactly. Yeah. The D Ford, for him to line up offside, the way he was lined up offside is like something you do when you started playing football as a kid because you don't know where the actual ball is. And you can see how far he's lined up, like a full, like 10 inches offside. He's looking inside the line. To me, it's like, you're offside.
Yeah.
Back up a bit. I think it's more likely, I'm not saying that he did, it's more likely that he was paid by the Patriots, by the NFL, whoever, by the Patriots to do that than it was the referees.
A lawsuit has been filed by a New Orleans attorney to get the game replayed because there is a...
it's never going to happen.
There's a rule that says that...
Yeah, Article 17...
that the commissioner can have the game replayed.
It can have the game replayed from its point at any time, but then but the NFL, you set a precedence at that point because the NFL can say, well, there was a face mask that wasn't called before, and there's a lot of things that happen. It's part of the game at this point. Going forward, do you review penalties like they do in the CFL? Maybe you do that.
I say give the referees 3 challenges. The coaches 3 challenges. Let them challenge whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
Whatever they want.
You can challenge.
Like, what's the problem?
You want to challenge a holding call? Challenge a holding call.
My question about this lawsuit is, so lawsuits take long to begin with, plus the federal government's been shut down. So let's say they need to replay this game in 7 years. Who's more likely, and they need to like replay this game and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Who's more likely to still be playing, Jared Goff or Tom Brady? Tom Brady's going strong.
It's a very good point.
You know what I mean? So there's a good chance Jared Goff won't be able to make that game.
Well, then Drew Brees. What if they replay that game and then the Saints win?
Imagine Drew Brees like, screw it, guys. I'm rich. Leave me alone.
I already won a Super Bowl.
My body hurts so much.
I have an MVP. I've already won a Super Bowl. Fuck it.
I have a question I've been wanting to ask you guys for a while since it happened, okay? So last year the Saints lost due to player error, right? Minneapolis Miracle happened. Basically a player missed a tackle, and then I think it was Marcus Lattimore.
Yes,
he
it was.
basically missed a tackle. And this year it's a reffing error. So I'm wondering, as a fan or even as a franchise, what would you rather not happen?
A Saints fan?
Sure.
Or in general?
Just in general.
I'd rather my player make a mistake than have somebody else cost the game for me. Because at least I can go back to my player and say, it's okay, shit happens, whatever. But I'd rather have as a unit, the team, the 53 guys on the team, make the mistake that cost the game as opposed to a third party cost us the game, because that's more angry. If Michael Thomas had dropped the ball or anybody else, if Lattimore did the same thing or whatever the case may be, if he caused a mistake, then I don't think the Saints would care as much. Because I think it's because it was an outside party.
I think what people are also forgetting about this is, yes, the referees made a mistake, but the Saints had the ball in overtime.
Yeah.
Like, they had a chance to win, and Breeze threw an interception.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like that's what's being lost in this conversation. And all these butthurt Saints fans, they've lost the plot that they had a chance to win the game. They had a chance in overtime. Unlike with the Chiefs that didn't have a chance at all.
Yeah.
They did have the ball, and they couldn't do anything with it.
True. Very true.
Yeah, and so my question is, what's up with Mike Francesa, Duke?
So Mike Francesa made a big mistake this week. He saw a meme there's a meme going around on social media of a referee holding up a Todd Gurley jersey and Todd Gurley holding up a referee jersey.
Like they exchanged it?
Right. And like as if they actually exchanged it. So Mike Francesa goes on this huge rant, freaking out about it. And all I thought about in this is my biggest fear. I don't want to be this old guy one day thinking a meme is real.
It's going to happen to me. I'm going to make a mistake on this show where I thought a meme was real.
But you get to...
Eagle, do we have a clip of that meme? Do we have a picture of that meme? If not, it's okay.
It's okay.
He does it.
Fuck it.
So, the Super Bowl's coming. What's the storylines that's going to annoy you the most? We'll go one after another, rapid fire.
Okay,
Tell me
like
one,
we said before, like we said, GOAT. I can't stand it.
Oh, that
the word
dumb.
GOAT, so Tom Brady, GOAT.
For me, C.J. Anderson's terrible diet.
Terrible
Guy
diet.
is just smashing hamburgers.
Yes, that's a good point. I'm going to have to say Sean McVay being extremely young to be a coach in the NFL.
So old versus young?
Old versus young, yes.
Like what's better?
What's better, old versus young?
Like in dating, old versus young?
In
Football,
porn,
old versus young?
I mean, in porn, old versus young is usually good.
Depends.
You
Depends
get
on
an
your taste,
older
man.
woman with a younger woman.
Don't put a label on it.
I mean, it's true. It's true. I think
they have that subcategory for a reason.
I think it's Paige. I think the GOAT, the Tom Brady GOAT.
Oh, the worst for me though is anytime Tom Brady makes a Super Bowl, the annoying posts of both Brady lovers and Montana lovers.
Oh my god!
Like, we don't need to agree, guys.
Like,
That's the thing about sports. In fact, the only reason that makes that conversation interesting is beer, and you can't drink on social media.
No, you cannot.
So therefore, it's dumb. Don't post about it.
Don't post
it's
about
dumb. If you come at me with my Twitter line, I don't know. I hate banning people. You're banned.
Yeah,
Banned.
it's true.
Social media drinking, eh? That's a great invention waiting to happen.
We need to do it. We need to do it.
I'm down.
Let's make it like a terrible challenge that the youth will ruin, and someone will die terribly by consuming Tide Pods or drinking while doing this challenge on the internet.
You know what storyline I can't wait to hear? Which random player that Belichick is going to bench right before the game?
Oh yeah, Chris Hogan.
You think?
Yeah, Chris Hogan. I don't like you did an out last week.
But like, has he ever benched the white guy?
That's a very good point too.
So, I mean, that's how he wins games.
He's gonna bench Josh Gordon.
That's the way he like. I feel like it's true. He's already been.
Feel,
So, but like, what do you like? That's another story I'm going to hear 1,000
Oh
times.
yeah,
And
if Josh Gordon was there, no.
I legit feel bad for Josh Gordon. Like now
Yeah.
he's been reduced to essentially a storyline.
But he's still gonna win. He'll technically have a Super Bowl ring if they win.
But the thing I won't get tired of hearing this week, Terry,
Greg Hardy.
Adrian Broner's reaction.
Amazing.
Can we load that up, Eagle? We have that queued.
Adrian,
This is his interview with Jim Gray. I think. Right?
ass over here. I got a lot to
I love Jim Gray.
we're going to conduct this professionally or we're not going to have an interview. You make the decision. What did you think about the fight?
I beat him. Everybody out there know I beat him. Everybody out there know I beat him. I controlled the fight. He was missing. I hit him clean more times. I beat him.
You averaged 8 punches. Less than 8 punches was the most punches that you had in the round.
That's the best way to
It
phrase
seemed
that.
As though you
Love
couldn't
watching
get
this.
It already sounded like you was against me. So I already ain't got a fair shake talking to you. But let me talk something. Let me let y'all know. I want to thank the whole hood who came out here. I love y'all. I did this for the hood. Y'all know I beat that boy. Y'all know I beat that boy. What they trying to do is they trying to get that money again with Pacquiao and Floyd. But this.
You could have waited for him to say Floyd Mayweather. You need to start listening to the clips, man.
So then no, but the best part about that is that Jim Gray goes, "You're 3-3-1 in your last 7. What's next?" He's like, "Well, I'll be 7-0 against you." He's like, "Well, I wouldn't mean much because it would not mean anything."
But I don't know, because he already took an L in that interview. So Jim Gray just dropped
6-1.
his giant dong.
6-1.
6-1.
But I love these interviews. But Jim Gray is very good at this. He's
Yeah.
very good at cutting the bullshit. Like, just tell me what you think about the fight. I don't want to talk about anything else. He did it with Conor McGregor too. And so at the end of the day, I think Jim Gray handled himself perfectly. Adrian Broner has always been a baby. For him to have fought in Pacquiao now with 3 losses in his last 7 is crazy to me because he's not relevant anymore. Boxing, if you lose more than twice, you don't become relevant. Adrian Broner is still getting these big money fights because he's a draw. I get it, but he's not what he was at the beginning of his career, and it sucks. And he's losing his mind slowly. And he's got 2 he's got 2 cases now. He's probably going to be in jail soon.
And the thing too with the fight is, I felt like he was punch shy. You know, like I feel like he was.
But he's always been.
But he's a very defensive fighter. It was going to be a boring fight anyway. So it was a boring
awful
fight.
It was
but Pacquiao,
awful to watch.
But Pacquiao won that fight to me. Just the eyesight. Pacquiao won that fight.
and it didn't feel particularly close.
Yeah.
Pacquiao
But
was
I mean,
quicker. Pacquiao was faster. He's better reflexes, and on top of that, he was busier.
And also not as crazy.
And he called out Mayweather after the fight too.
But in his defense, as J-Rock once said, you don't gotta like it because the hood gonna love it.
Is that J-Rock from Trailer Park Boys?
No, it's J-Rock in the song with Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
So
like,
once upon a time, UFC wasn't ESPN friendly because Mickey Mouse and violence of UFC wasn't gonna cut it. But now we have an event where Dana White, who once said, once you hit a woman, there's no coming back. But we have a card where we have Greg Hardy and a woman in, can you say the name?
Rachel Ostovich.
I thought it was a
beautiful
woman.
woman. Dime piece.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who was beat by her decrepit partner.
Who was an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Her partner's an MMA fighter. He hits her. She breaks her orbital bone. She said, "Fuck it, I'm not going to pull myself out of the fight." She fights against Paige Van Zandt. It was a great fight, very technical. She ended up losing, but I don't think she lost any fans. I think she gained a lot more fans than anything else. But the UFC, as Ariel Helwani said, very tone deaf in the situation where they added Greg Hardy to be a co-main event. So first mistake is putting Greg Hardy as the co-main event. The guy has 3 fights and he doesn't even rank within his top 20. His second mistake is putting it on the same card as when as you're an accused woman beater, and you're putting on the same card as a woman who's on the main card that was just beaten by her husband. So very tone deaf by the UFC, and I'm very disappointed in the way it happened. And Greg Hardy can suck my ass.
Yeah, and like so, we won't get to the video clip because we're running short on time because we have a double feature today, two interviews. We'll get to that in a second, but. The video of Greg Hardy and his reaction saying that he was disqualified and he didn't know the rules. I mean, it's understandable that a guy who would throw a woman into a futon full of guns doesn't know the rules that are acceptable in a specific arena.
So he panicked and he was being bullied. He didn't know what to do. He panicked and he kicked him and he hit him and he kneed him in the face. That's not something you learn. I'm just saying.
Yeah. So that's.
I'm just saying.
It was honestly all in all entertaining UFC card.
Yes, it was.
The
death of the flyweights.
Flyweights made a case for themselves, do you think?
No, I do not think.
No?
I think Joe Benavidez fighting against Dustin Ortiz was a great fight. Those two guys will probably be great in Bellator when Bellator launches their flyweight division. But I think the UFC has said it, and they're alluding to it, that they're going to be getting rid of the flyweight division. Cejudo is going to go up to bantamweight at 135, fight DJ Dillashaw, lose, and Cejudo is going to be irrelevant. And then we'll talk about DJ Dillashaw being the best pound-for-pound fighter.
We're going to have Andy McNamara up next. He works for TSN 1050 and TSN 4 Downs, and he's coming to us, of course, with monkeyknifefight.com, as well as Mark Dumont, who writes for The Athletic and The Gazette. Stay tuned for that. They're two great interviews.
Yes.
And we're back with Andy McNamara of TSN 1050 and TSN 4 Downs. For those of you who want to follow me, it's the first time I've gotten it right all day. Preparation's been a bit of a disaster. Andy, we're suffering through a storm. How's weather where you're at?
Oh, terrible. Like, it's warmed up a bit today, but the snow, it's that wet snow, so you're shoveling cement.
Yeah.
And then what really gets me, guys, is you're all done, right? You're like, it's all... And then those jerks on the snow plows, you need them to clear it, but you just know there's like a sick pleasure they take in going through subdivisions and just piling it up at the end. The wet slush, and then you have to break your back again. For all you snowplow drivers out there, you guys suck for doing that. I hate
jerks.
that.
Straight jerks
for doing your job.
If you think that is the worst, I think I'm actually kind of worse because I'm looking forward to looking at the security camera to see my 100-pound fiance shoveling all the snow at home while I'm recording a podcast. So I think I might be a worse person than those snowplow removal people,
or the best person.
I think I'm the best.
Yeah.
But it's up in the air. The first burning question for us, Andy, is why on earth are you a Browns fan?
Well, sir, it is. It seems like finally it might be starting to pay off with Baker Mayfield and Freddie Kitchens. But I'm a legacy fan, guys, okay? So my grandfather was a Browns fan, going back to Paul Brown post-World War II. So back then, of course, right, it was just radio. And in their area, in Scarborough, which is a suburb of Toronto, it was on the radio. You either heard the New York Giants or the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns in the 40s and 50s won like 10 NFL championships and all that. And so that was great. So my dad became a Browns fan, and he got Jim Brown. And then when I came old enough, I became a Browns fan, and I got hot garbage, essentially.
Yeah,
until,
Seneca Wallace.
And Leroy Horde.
Yeah.
Leroy Horde was my favorite terrible Browns player.
But now you got Baker Mayfield, and I'm sure you're happy
I got
about
Baker,
that.
baby.
Yeah.
I got Baker. I love him. This dude is, I think, everything you want in a franchise quarterback, guys. And it's because of the moxie, because of the... I'll tell you a quick story. Apparently, so he first comes in the New York Jets game, right? Tyrod Taylor goes down.
Yeah.
He comes in.
Thankfully,
he
goes down.
And there's all this stuff of, he's a leader, but how's he going to go in the NFL? Apparently, this is what happened with the lineman, or what one of the Browns offensive linemen said. Baker comes up, someone on the Jets defense, like, rookie, I'm going to eat you up. This isn't college, but typical trash. Baker steps up, looks right at him, and says, I don't even know who the fuck you are. And the line went bananas, and everybody told him, it's like, this guy's got stones, and they just went with him, and it was a great ride ever since.
It's almost like the Matty Ice story. His first practice, his first pass shell. He went into the huddle and he looked over to. I guess at that point it was Julio Jones. Who was he replacing? Like, who was the receiver in Atlanta before Julio Jones?
Andre Rison? Was it still him? Or
no, I think it was Julio Jones. Anyway, he looked at Julio Jones and he kind of looked at him and said, "Just get open, like get fucking open." Kind of thing, you know, and then that's what they started calling Matty Ice because he's a stone cold killer, but he sucks. We found out later that it's all garbage. What did you think of the games this weekend, Andy? What are your thoughts?
Well, I try to put the horrible officiating aside, and because I think there were still the action, the results, the drama was still tremendous. So I put that the terrible officiating aside. And one lesson that you have to keep relearning apparently in the NFL: you do not let Tom Brady touch the ball last. You don't. If you do, he will beat you. Maybe not always in the Super Bowl, but getting to the Super Bowl, he will beat your ass, and he did again. Yeah. And they went and you let him touch the ball last. And for the Saints and the Rams, people saying, "Oh, that non-call screwed over the Saints," which is true. But what people are forgetting is they still kicked the field goal to have the lead, and they still let it get away. So it's not all on that one call.
As soon as I saw 2 minutes and 3 seconds left on the clock after the Chiefs had scored, I was like, it's over. I knew the Pats were going to win.
For me, it's when they got the ball in overtime. I was like, wow, that was fun. That was an enjoyable 3 hours.
Yep. It's like, I guess this is Tom going back. And here's the stat I saw. Tom Brady himself, so him and Belichick, have gotten, with the Patriots, to more Super Bowls than any other franchise. Tom Brady, as a single person, has gotten to more Super Bowls than any other franchise in NFL history. That's insane.
Yeah, this will be his ninth trip to the Super Bowl.
Number 9.
It's safe to say if he wins, he'll be the what do you call it? The
underdog?
The GOAT.
Oh.
The GOAT.
So, but like,
I'm starting to get bored of saying the word.
But so I feel like now, like, that was cool the first time someone said it, but now we reach a point where GOAT is just the douchiest thing to say, right?
Yeah, it's like the old elite is Eli Manning, Joe Flacco, or the elite. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Which
at this point, every time I read that on social media, I want to hang myself.
Like the GOAT term, guys, because GOAT used to be like, you screwed up, right? You suck.
Yeah.
He's the GOAT. And now it's like greatest of all time. So there's always kind of that like little bit of confusion, but now if you use it the other way, it just makes no sense. So it's kind of like, all right, I kind of like the GOAT emoji using it instead of writing the word GOAT.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, that amuses me for some reason. But other than that, yeah, it's like, let's get done with this.
If you were to replace it by another animal, though, what animal would you go with?
Oh,
it's a good one.
Terrific question.
I go straight moose, because the moose head, that's where it's at.
Yeah.
Moose head's cool.
He's packing a straight moose head too.
Maybe like the front facing horse face that's smiling. That's kind of neat. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, what's the name for that though? Let's just call it unicorn.
Yeah,
because they're so rare. We're just calling it
a poll question. You guys need to put that up for a poll. What emoji animal should replace the GOAT?
But what's the abbreviation? So unicorn, the undisputed, nationally.
He's the horny.
Inclined.
He's the horny.
Incorporated.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out.
You brought up the horse. Now, so you know, there's 2 members of this podcast, myself and our graphicist and producer, Duke. We are absolutely obsessed with Red Dead Redemption 2. Terry Tam, my co-host, getting started on 2. You finished it, finally?
I just finished it, yeah.
How have you enjoyed your experience in the Wild West so far?
Man, so has everybody finished it? I don't want to do like spoilers here for people who haven't.
Arthur Morgan dies.
Just go for it.
Yeah, it's okay.
If you don't want to get spoiled, then I'm sorry. I don't know you've been living because it's been spoiled 1,000 times. Go ahead.
Spoiler alert, hit the mute button for a minute and, come back after. Listen, I loved the first game so much, and I loved how this kind of led up to it and the backstory and all that. I thought just visually, like that game, like you kind of felt, I don't know what you guys, I kind of felt like bad, like they were putting so much work into it. So sometimes I would just stop and like look around at like the trees and stuff that the artist created and just like, okay, I'm appreciating like the thousands of hours you guys put in. Visually stunning. I just always felt the storyline was just, and maybe it was the hype leading up to it. I just felt the storyline was a little bit lacking compared to the first one. Like it always seemed to kind of be like, you got close, disappointed. You got close, disappointed. I didn't really feel the payoff at the end was the best.
But it kind of got better later on, a little bit. At first, it was because I think it's the way they progress. So if like you're the first time playing it, kind of thing, you just have to get used to shooting, even though it auto locks, but whatever.
Well, the commands are there's so many things that it makes the commands terribly clunky.
Yeah, but the one thing I liked about it, what you said, Andy, is that just playing the game, I would love just riding my horse for like an hour. Killing somebody here and there, helping somebody in another place.
The amount of time I spent fishing is dumb.
It's crazy.
I could just go fishing.
The thing I didn't like was when John, you take over as John Marston, and you're on the farm, or you're on like the ranch, and it's like, help me build a fence. Like, dude, do I really have to hammer stuff? Come on.
You have
like,
to press
can I
X. Like, just let me skip this scene.
Like, just fast forward it. I don't need to learn how to build a fence, you know. But it was cool, the transition, right? And then like, okay, and you see the cops coming at the end. And you're like, all right. And then I wish there would have been something where you could transition then into the next game, like have it go right into it. You know what I mean? And have it keep going into the first storyline. That would have been cool because it took you right up to it. So I thought that stream was fascinating. The end with Dutch taking out Micah, that was cool.
Yeah.
And it was because in the first game, you end up like having to kill Dutch or go after Dutch. Dutch's gang comes after you again or something, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I understand why Dutch didn't just take the money at the end. He was trying to be nice about it.
So maybe that's why he came after you. I want to replay that one, but I don't know if, for PS4, can you put like PS3 discs in, or do they screw you on that?
No, I don't think so.
Our producers are saying no.
They're the guys that know these
They're
things.
the tech guys.
That's a dick move, Sony.
Yeah, fuck you, Sony.
Do you play as a white hat or a black hat in the game? Are you a good guy or bad guy?
Spend too much money on.
You know what? I always try good, and then I end up getting bored riding. I'm like, I'm just gonna have to kill this homeless guy. It's like,
See, I start off terrible. And then, like, as the story started turning and Arthur's becoming like self-actualized, I'm like, oh, now I feel like a piece of trash. Screw you, Arthur Morgan.
Every time I try to be a nice guy and help somebody out, I accidentally like shoot him. You know, and then it's like, oh shit, all the cops are after me, so I'm wanted. So I'm just running around the red circle trying to get away from it. But I spend way too much money on clothes in that game.
Yeah, same here. And in real life.
And I don't know where the clothes go. Where do they go? I could just wear them again after?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Just wear it. And like money becomes like, I was so worried about spending money at first, and at the end it doesn't really matter. So I'm like, I kind of want to go back and just be like more frivolous with my cash and just buy stuff. I would like hoard it. And I was like, it doesn't matter in the end because poor Arthur ends up croaking from debris. And he's always hacking. You're like, damn it, Arthur.
See, now outside
fucked up, Arthur.
Outside of RDR2, though, we do need to be careful with our money. And for those looking to win some spare cash in this coming fantasy football season, for those who don't know, Andy McNamara on TSN 4 Downs, great fantasy show. Andy, you're a fantasy dude. Who are the rookies at this point we should keep an eye out for in not even dynasty leagues, but even like all the rookies that we saw do damage this year, guys like Sony Michel, Nick Chubb. Who are those guys next year in this upcoming draft?
Oh boy, you know what, guys? I'm a draft junkie, and this is really the beginning of the week with the Senior Bowl, where I really start to dive deep into it. So I'm going to have a lot more insight as this process goes through the combine. Like I'm the guy. I'll watch the kickers run at the combine. I'm twisted. I'll just watch like every second, every down. I have like pages and pages of notes on these guys and everything. Right now, I would say that it's tricky because you don't necessarily know what situation guys are going to go to. Quarterback wise, it's very thin. I love Dwayne Haskins coming out of Ohio State. I think this guy was a better pro-ready style quarterback in college, and he didn't really fit with the Buckeyes system. So I think as long as he goes to a place with some weapons around him, I think Haskins can be somebody that's pretty quick, can come in, and that might be a nice stash. It's a really, really deep defensive draft, which doesn't always do you a whole lot of good on the fantasy side.
No.
So
the first 15 picks are set to be
other one too,
players.
For wideout, DK Metcalf, as long as his neck checks out injury wise, Metcalf 6'4", like 225 guy is going to be a monster.
Yeah.
So I hope he's healthy because I'm excited.
Hey, so I'm Duke. I'm the guy in the background, and I'm a huge fan as well. I just have a quick question for you. So there's a recent report coming out that the Raiders might be interested in drafting Kyler Murray. Is this something that you think that they should do or that they should stay away from?
John Gruden is clearly a madman. I don't know if he's trolling the Raiders, the league, if it's going to pop up and it's like an old, gotcha TV show. It's like, I wasn't really a head coach again. I was really in the booth because he's insane. Listen, guys, Kyler Murray, as far as a first-round draft pick, I think is a colossal disaster of a mistake. Third-round flyer, sure. Here's the thing. People want to point to, well, hey, Russell Wilson's only 5'11". Yeah, but Russell Wilson's as thick as a house. Baker Mayfield, Drew Brees. Well, Baker Mayfield's a solid 220. and he's over 6 feet. Kyler Murray, I want to see what he measures out in the combine. They got him listed at 5'9". We know typically college stuff, usually a bit of a stretch. And what concerns me more, he's listed at 195, which means he's probably closer to 185. This guy's going to get squashed. He's closer to a build of Johnny Manziel, built-wise and physical. Johnny looked like a child, and Johnny's taller than him. Yeah. This guy's going to get destroyed. How's he going to see over the line? And he's going to run? A guy like Luke Kuechly is going to rush him down and squash him. Kyler Murray would be a joke of a first-round pick. Prolific college numbers, great. It's fun to watch. Great college player, absolutely. We know the NFL is a different game. You can't do it. If anyone reaches for him in the first round, it's a bad draft. That GM's going to be fired within 2 years. Watch.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, and also he'll be in Oakland A, so it won't matter.
That's it.
If you waste of draft pick for that reason. So
it's like, Kyler, go play baseball, bro. Go be Jose Altuve. He's 5'7". Go play ball.
Go play with him. Go join your little guys.
Don't get yourself killed.
Andy,
I'm
so
scared for him.
And we got 2 weeks of Super Bowl coverage, so there's a lot of questions in people's mind. But all I keep thinking about is, I know you, like myself, are a bourbon lover. I just went out to Nashville, went to the Greenbrier Distillery, and I got to buy a bottle of Belle Mead, which they don't have up in our hometown of Montreal.
They have Dickel. They sell Dickel, though.
They do have Dickel, which is great.
I brought some
what's your top three go-to? The top, not the top three reasons the Patriots win the Super Bowl. What's your top three go-to bourbons for your Super Bowl party?
That's a good one.
Absolutely love this question. It's a topic I never get to really discuss that much on the air, so I do appreciate it. Yes, I have different tiers, guys, for like celebration bourbon or like special occasion. You work your butt off all week. You're like, this is a special treat bourbon. Leading the way there, Blanton's Original Single Barrel, my all-time go-to. Absolutely love it. My daily good one, not that I'm drinking every day. Don't want to get that.
But if you were to drink every day,
we're not going to judge you, Andy. We're not judging.
But the more common one, I love myself Bullet, Orange Label Bullet.
Bullet's nice.
It's phenomenal. I think it's a great one to have on the rocks. You can have it neat. Pop it. I'll tell you this too, guys. I believe, and I don't want to get too cocky here, but I have mastered a new way to make the old fashioned. Okay, I don't know if you guys are a fan of the cocktail.
Oh yeah,
of course,
definitely.
I have mastered it. I believe with the twist being, instead of you know how they have the garnish, you'll see an orange peel. If I'm making it at home, I want to cut up an orange and just have a weird orange peel all day. It's a pain in the butt. Then
what do you do with the orange? Like, I'm not hungry. I just want to drink.
You got a wasted orange. It's like half is exposed. It's a disaster. And then it says like express the orange peel. What the hell does that mean? I'm squeezing an orange peel? No. So what I did is, you don't have the the Angostura bitters. I use black walnut bitters from Fee Brothers.
There you go.
What you do, you have the brown sugar, about a half a teaspoon of that in the cup, dash of water, muddle it up, put the 3 dashes of black walnut bitters in. Then you put 2 shots of, you can pick, Weller's is a nice mixing one. You can do more of a Jim Beam for mixing. You don't, ones that aren't going to be a sipper. Then you put a good size ice cube in. Then what you do, instead of the orange peel, you do a splash of actual orange juice. Game changer on the cocktail, gentlemen. Game changer. Mix that sucker up and slip into the evening.
Well, we'll write this down and we'll try it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm down.
Definitely.
The orange juice makes the difference. The splash of actual orange juice, it's real good.
We'll drink them on air next week. Eagle, you're a producer. You're going to produce us a couple of drinks, and we'll drink it and rate it on the air as Super Bowl coverage for next week. Andy McNamara joins us again from TSN 1050, and he's the host of TSN 4 Downs. Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem, guys. And I'll tell you this real quick, too. If you're looking for fantasy prop bets to make over the Super Bowl weekend, I'm working with the new site, monkeyknifefight.com. Check it out, monkeyknifefight.com. Use promo code AMAC, and they match up to 100% of your initial bet in there. So if you put like your initial deposit, so $50 turns into 100, and you do stuff like, okay, over under 250 yards on Tom Brady. Who's going to get more rushing yards, Michelle or whoever? So it's a really cool site. So if you want to play and try it out and make some extra money, monkeyknifefight.com, and use promo code AMAC.
That's perfect for degenerates like me and Terry.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to check that out. So also, if you want to get more information about fantasy or about football in general, he's a great follow on Twitter, AndyMC80 at AndyMC81. Andy, thank you so much for joining us.
Anytime, boys. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Thanks, Andy.
Welcome back. It is Double Trouble, Double Jeopardy, our first double feature. Terry, have you ever been to a double feature in your life?
Absolutely not.
It's when
there was that Rob Zombie had one, no?
Yeah, and also it was an old movie thing. I used to there used to be Dollar Cinema. That's how old I am. And they used to be able to watch 2 movies back to back, and that was a thing. Like that was a thing people did.
It's a good way to spend 6 hours.
Yeah, giant waste of time. Our second interview of the day. We are joined by Mark Dumont, who comes to us from The Athletic and the Montreal Gazette. Super excited to have him. How's it going, Mark?
Not too bad, and you absolutely nailed my last name. That's pretty good. It's either
Dumont.
I hear Dumont a lot, or yeah, exactly.
I am multiple. I am a multiple P, and you are Dumont.
Exactly, that works perfect. Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Pleasure, buddy. So we'll jump right into it. I mean, you're a huge hockey guy, so I wanted to get, especially with the news coming out today that Peter Chiarelli.
It's 2019. We can't call people huge anymore.
It's true. So you're.
Yeah, I take offense to that. I'm going to go on Twitter and tweet something very angry about it right now. Yeah.
Amazing. Can't wait.
And we'll respond gladly. So with the news today that Peter Chiarelli was let go of the Edmonton Oilers, what do you think about what's going on there?
What a mess, right? I mean, and it's funny because sometimes you say, who saw that coming? But everyone saw this coming, and to me, it's just laughable that the Oilers higher-ups are kind of trying to pretend here that, these things happen. No. There's been a pattern of a guy essentially disassembling a team and, getting rewarded for it. There's 31 GM jobs in the NHL. These should be the best guys, in the world, most qualified guys in the world, but we keep picking old players, old friends of the owners. And guys, this is the result. You have GMs that I know it's harsh to say, but they're not qualified to the job, and they make a lot of mistakes.
So he's managed to. This is a potential lineup that he would have had if he had made some trades or he had signed some guys properly. Taylor Hall, Connor McDavid, Jordan Eberle, Puljujarvi, Barzal, Nugent-Hopkins, Puyol, Draisaitl, and Yamamoto. And then on the fourth line, you even have Yakupov and Benson and Kyra. So imagine having those guys on your team and then still having a losing record. I think it's safe to say that Peter Chiarelli was properly let go in the second period after the second intermission during the game so he can leave quietly.
Yeah, get out of here! I want to see your face. Leave my building now.
Imagine though that you allow this guy to sign a 30-year-old goalie with 27 games experience to more money than any defenseman on your roster makes the day before he gets fired. So that to me just shows how much of a tire fire the Edmonton Oilers are, and it starts from the top, right? We're talking about Bob Nicholson and down.
Yeah.
When you have nothing but ex-players on your roster. And I think this is an NHL issue. It's not just the Oilers, right? Look around the other leagues. The NFL and MLB hardly have any ex-players as general managers. The NBA has a few, maybe 10 or so, whereas the NHL is closer to 20, 25. Yeah. So it's really an NHL issue here. It's hiring guys that, honestly, frankly, just aren't qualified.
The NHL is the old boys club.
Yeah.
That's what it's always been.
Exactly. It's where nepotism rules supreme, right? So if you know a guy or if you're Keith Gretzky's cousin, well, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
So what do they do now, and how long do you think it'll take them to recover?
God, yeah, good question, right? I mean, you have the best player of a generation to work around. So all is not lost there. Obviously, I think signing, getting Koskinen in at 4.5 complicates things, but I think the Toronto Maple Leafs, for all the criticism they receive, and they're not quite there yet, but I think they actually did a pretty good job digging themselves out of the hole that they were in. They're in a very similar situation. Where they had Clarkson and they had a whole bunch of contracts that just you couldn't move whatsoever. You had, Dion Phaneuf sitting at $7 million a year. You had no idea what to do with them. Well, they slowly and surely dug themselves out, and I think that's what you have to do with the Oilers here. You have to start digging. You have to start making the right decisions, and the unfortunate truth is it's going to take years to fix this, in my opinion. But you need someone in that front office that's going to put their foot down and say, no, stop saying stuff like character. Yeah. Start talking about talent. Because, you can surround McDavid with all the character in the world. It's not going to score a single goal. You need more talent on that line, and it just goes to show the lineup that you described earlier. There's a lot more talent in that one. So it takes years to build that. It takes a few months to destroy it, and now they're back to needing a few years to build it up again.
So Terry and I often disagree on Mark Bergevin and how he's run the Canadians. Terry believes it's a grandmaster plan. I believe he was just lucky as fuck. Mark,
Come on.
So like, speaking of guys who are unqualified, tell Terry why he's wrong, or tell me why I'm wrong, but I won't listen if you tell me why I'm wrong.
It's funny because that's my biggest criticism. I don't think he's ever actually had a long-term plan. He's kind of been reactionary, but I will give him credit. Okay, so there's been some bad trades here and there. This summer, however, I would have been fine if the Canadiens would have fired him. I think that would have been an appropriate time. He has 6 years with the team, didn't go very far, and now you're back to square one. But he stayed the course this summer. Trading Pacioretty for Tatar has been, producing better than Pacioretty has. No one saw that coming. Getting Nick Suzuki involved. Finally having a good prospect pool. So he's really turned around things lately. Yeah. I'm going to say you're both right, and you're both wrong. He's been terrible at times, and he's been great at other times. There's no happy middle with Mark Bergevin, right? It's either awful trade or fantastic trade.
Well, he's managed to get, through trades, he's managed to get Danault. He's managed to get Domi, who's panned out. I mean, I don't think a lot of people thought that he would outscore Galchenyuk in that through that trade.
And Jeff Petrie, for example, that to me was his best trade. You threw magic beans at the Edmonton Oilers, and to get back to the Oilers subject, imagine how much better they'd be if they'd have a guy like Jeff Petrie running their blue line.
For a team like the Oilers, who've really never had a good defenseman, and
they definitely need a top rate. Exactly. So, he's made some really good trades. Absolutely. Now, I think he focused too much on a lot of the old school stuff, character and all that, and that really led him down a dark alley. But I'm going to go ahead and give him credit. I've been one of his biggest critics. I think he's made a lot of mistakes, like most GMs have. But right now, he's evened out, and I'd say he's on the positive side. The franchise is headed towards a good place. But we have to keep in mind, this is 7 years on the job here. So your GM should get not many guys get 7 years, and they should by that time be, righting the ship. It shouldn't be navigating the dark waters anymore after, the better part of a decade.
Especially after you spend a better part of a decade wasting the career of one of the best goaltenders in the history in the NHL.
Not only that, I think maybe, but not only that, I think coaching has a lot to play with this. And Bergevin might have had a vision, even though Terrien was there. I think that Julien fits his vision a lot better, and he's able to develop a lot of young players. And to me, the best part of all these trades that were done is for him, like you said, Mark, before, is for him to have included Suzuki in that Vegas trade. Suzuki is going to be a very good player in the NHL. Maybe not a top line player, top scorer player in the NHL, but he's going to be a very good player in the NHL. And for him to play with somebody like Tatar and Gallagher, I think he'll fit in very well with those guys with the speed.
But I think going back to the coaching, that's probably, I'd say, one of his weak spots. Those trades have been fairly strong. I think if you actually do, the plus minus of his trades, it's probably on the plus side there.
Yeah.
As contract signings, there's been a few more misses than hits, but then you still have had some pretty, for example, Max Domi has a very reasonable contract right now. Pacioretty signed one of the best contracts I've ever seen in the NHL. But when it comes to coaching, I think that's really has been one of his blind spots for Marc Bergevin. He trusted Michel Terrien too long. He trusted Sylvain Lefebvre in the AHL way too long. They were friends, and he has a hard time firing his friends. Well, the unfortunate part is if you do hire a friend, you're probably going to have to fire him. So that, I think, kind of held him back a little bit. But now you have Joël Bouchard and you have Claude Julien, and I don't think you can really peg many better AHL and NHL combos. So, it's taken a long time. That's what I'll say about Marc Bergevin. He's made his mistakes. He's made, a fair amount of mistakes. But things are looking better right now, and that's what, Habs fans were expecting a bottom 5 finish this year. So was I.
Yeah.
So everything from here on in is gravy, really, when you look at it.
As a season ticket holder, I'm very happy.
I've
been selling. Yeah,
well, you get to sell your tickets this year, right? Yeah, well, and last year, I have a friend with season tickets, and people were laughing at we're going half price, and people weren't buying.
Yeah.
So when the Habs are hot, I remember going to the Bell Center when they were doing really good, and third period scalpers, they were still charging first period pricing.
Yeah.
So it's not quite back to that level yet, but it's getting there.
Oh, so just to end off here, so we have a real quick question for you, a very serious question.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I noticed that you like Game of Thrones and you like The Simpsons.
Yes.
I noticed that from your Twitter account. I'm a huge
Yeah,
Simpsons fan. And a huge
grew
Game of
up on
Thrones
The
fan.
Simpsons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. As we did all, right? And I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. I just got my wife into it, so it's perfect. We're a couple months away. I can't wait for the new season to start. Now, if I had to ask you which character do you relate to the most in both shows, which ones would they be?
Oh, I guess I'd probably have to say Tyrion because he likes to drink a lot and sleep. So, I mean, you know, there aren't many better things than drinking and sleeping. And in that respect, I'm going to go with Barney Gumble because, you know, we look at The Simpsons and everyone calls him the drunk, but he seems like one of the happiest guys in that show.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So, exactly. So I'm gonna go with the two degenerates. That's my pick there. Absolutely. The guys that handle the most booze possible, that's who I relate to.
You're a man after my own heart because I've always been a Barney deep inside, and also on the outside. Mark, we're doing this. We have this idea for when Game of Thrones starts. We're gonna have a weekly segment where we preview the smallest, most insignificant details and pretend that the show will be about those things, and we're gonna see if our theories turn out to be right. So we'll try to give you a call during the Game of Thrones season as well, so we can discuss Game of Thrones with you if you don't mind.
Absolutely, no, I love it. It's the only thing I'll sit down and watch on TV.
Sure.
Like you know, you get me to pay for HBO, done. Like that's no problem.
I know they screwed me. I was done paying for cable. Now I got to pay for it. God damn it. So before we let you go, the Toronto Maple Leafs still on top of the division, but they've been just sort of falling. What's happened to their season, and do you think they'll be caught by Montreal and Boston?
Boston, maybe, right? Because you have just a fantastic line. You know, we talk about really good players, and Patrice Bergeron doesn't always fall in that category of the elite players in the NHL. But in my opinion, you know, if I had to clone one player, it would be Patrice Bergeron, because there are maybe 3-4 guys that you can legitimately say are 200-foot players in the NHL, even though coaches say that about everyone. But Bergeron is one of them, right? So he's dominant on both sides of the puck. That line, very good. You have the goaltending tandem, very strong.
Yeah.
Habs don't have that elite talent, okay? And I will give them credit, though. They've done so good, and I think Coach Yin deserves a lot of credit for it, too. They've done so good with what they have, but their strength is depth. So you have now a pretty interesting race here, and you know, it kind of reminds me of early MMA days, different styles here. You have the depth team, which is the Habs, then you have the team with the elite talent, which is the Leafs. I think both are quite flawed, but what we're seeing with the Leafs, their lack of depth is so apparent in the sense that if their top line isn't going, you know, or if they're not getting production from Tavares or, you know, their bevy of elite centers, they're not going to score very much, and they're going to allow a ton of shots. So I look at the Leafs, and I think they're so flawed in the sense that they allow the fifth most shots in the NHL, and that's not a good thing. But goddamn, are they ever entertaining? And you have those are two of the top 3 teams in pace in the NHL. So shots for, shots against. But the Leafs allow a ton of shots against. And, you know, I am a big believer in underlying numbers. I geek out on the stats, and I think it'll end up costing them in the long run how many scoring chances they give up. You can have elite talent all you want, and it wins games, don't get me wrong. But in the long run, if you're allowing, you know, almost as many shots as, well, not the Ottawa Senators, but as the Detroit Red Wings, then you have an absolute problem. And I don't think you're a Stanley Cup contender. But they're close. If they get some defense on there, the Toronto Maple Leafs will be really fun to watch.
For those who want to see Mark Dumont at work, he has an article posted right now on The Athletic comparing the exhausted Montreal Canadiens to Homer Simpson, or losing to Homer Simpson. We have
they were Boxcar Bob. Yeah,
essentially. And we have you can find them also in the Montreal Gazette. Mark, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time. Where can people find you on social media?
I am on Twitter at Mark P. Dumont that's it, at Twitter. And I deleted Facebook about 10 years ago. And other than that, you can contact me by calling my phone number. I'm one of the old school guys. I actually pick up my phone. I don't use it for text messages. So it's Twitter or the way people did it 100 years ago. That's it.
Or we call you.
When my
Yeah,
phone,
exactly.
when I see a call on my phone, I panic and leave the room. I don't know what
Exactly.
to do.
I know. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I use my phone as a phone, and I know that terrifies people. But I still call people. They'll text me, and I call them, and they have that same reaction that, oh my God, what is this noise coming from my text machine?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Mark. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks a lot for having me on, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, Mark. And we're back without Peeze. As you can see here, we got Peeze as a better-looking brother. We said we were going to get him on camera, so we got him on camera.
Can't wait.
Looking all spack with your little scarf, your Jose Mourinho scarf over here.
Man. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Eagle is telling me which way to look. Which way is the camera? Move more that way. Move more which way?
No, like
that.
This way. Face this way.
All right, I'm facing this way.
Job.
Oh, there's
Good
the
job.
camera.
There you go.
Hello. Hello.
So Peeze at the run. He has a football game, but we just
Diarrhea.
finished interviewing Andy McNamara from TSN.
Yeah, he was awesome, man.
He was unfucking believable, and also Mark Dumont from the Athletic and the Gazette. Both those guys. Hopefully, we have them on.
While
again.
Mark Dumont was talking about hockey, I completely wet my pants.
Yeah,
It was incredible.
Yeah, no,
because we don't talk about enough hockey.
They started banging out numbers, talking about the Leafs and how many goals, how many shots they have on net, and whatever it is. I'm like, fuck, man.
And in the
Way
background,
over my head.
me and Eeks had so many like random questions we could have asked, but like no one cares about third line centers.
I mean, people do.
Some people.
Some people do.
Not everybody.
But I honestly liked Andy McNamara's points. I loved his tips on bourbon, making a new old fashioned. Eagle's going to make us one next week for Not Sauce for Work.
Episode 10 coming up. We got to make some old fashions for that one.
So we'll jump into rapid fire, and then
Yes,
we'll close it out so our fans can get to their wives and their families. So the first step is the laser show.
Yeah, so from what I noticed this during the Chiefs-Pats game.
I never noticed it.
That there were a couple of plays where Tom Brady was getting just lasers straight in his eyes.
What color were the lasers?
It was like a green laser, a laser pointer.
At his eye, for real?
Like, yeah, it was right on the helmet.
So is he the GOAT now because he's able to do that with lasers pointed in his eye?
You just couldn't wait to bring that in, eh?
Shit.
I've seen it happen a couple times in NFL, but the most amazing thing is the fact that he was able to complete passes with that. I mean, I'm sure he's used to it. But also the question I have is, how intense is this laser that hits all the way from?
Yeah, how far are you? Yeah,
the NFL apparently is going to be investigating it. I don't know.
Crazy. If they can find out who the person is, that's nuts.
But I was thinking about
but it's happened before. People have found
and I was thinking about this. There are ways for them to find who's doing it because there's cameras all over the field,
everywhere,
and also just from the angle of which the laser was hitting Tom Brady. But my thing though is, and I'm going to take a little bit of this from Stephen A. I heard Stephen A. this morning talking about
fuck that guy.
About how like if this happened to Patrick Mahomes, it would have been if this would have happened to Patrick Mahomes and it happened if it happened in New England, it would have nonstop
100%,
complaining,
100%.
nonstop conspiracy from all these crazy conspiracy theorists that hate the Patriots that can't wait to come up with any conspiracy.
I agree 100%.
Yeah, and I was thinking about
it's
that.
fucking it's a little ridiculous how anybody always looks for a reason to hate on the Pats. I don't like the Pats, you know what I mean? I mean, I've always respected Tom Brady. He's a great player. Mm-hmm. But like at the end of the day, I'm bored. I'm just bored of the Pats. It's not that I dislike them. I think that's what most fans are, and I think you're right about that. Is that if it happened to Mahomes or if it happened in New England, people would have been a lot more upset.
Look, I'm a diehard Raiders fan. For the longest time, I hated Tom Brady. And I hated the Patriots because the Tuck rule is just it's bred into me. It's bred into my biscuits. Bud.
17 years, and how old are you now? You're 31.
I'm 32.
32. So since you've been 15 years old, you've hated Tom Brady. Your entire adult life, you've hated Tom Brady because of a rule that he did not invent.
Ever since Deflategate, I have a renewed passion for Tom Brady because of how much I hate Roger Goodell.
Oh man!
So ever since then, I've kind of turned the tide a little bit, and then I've grown to love him. I mean, he's great and everything. But let's not talk too much about Tom Brady because I mean, no one wants to hear us.
I don't think so either. So there was the Baseball Hall of Fame nominations this year, and the inductees
Mariano
this
Rivera, 100% vote.
That's crazy.
And
100% by players as well.
Right. Now, do you feel like he should have been 100%?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's known as the best closer of all time, so why not be a first ballot? I mean
that vicious cutter, man.
It's nasty. I think Derek Jeter has a quote saying the batter knew he was going to throw the cutter. Mo knew he was going to throw the cutter. Everybody in the stadium knew they were accused him to throw the cutter, and he didn't give a shit. He was going to throw that cutter, and he was going to do it because he's able to do it.
And he's had great games. He's had some of the most memorable moments in baseball history.
Yeah. It's the equivalent to being a kicker. In the NFL, where you come in and he's basically Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah, and I've always felt like a closer being an MLB closer must be one of the most stressful things, especially if you're coming in to relieve. You
in
have
New York in the playoffs, you're cold.
Yeah, of course. And there's let's say a 1-run lead.
Yeah,
and like that's scary.
Yeah,
and he's many times that he's faced that. But Dan Shaughnessy, of course, of the Boston Globe, found a way to make this all about himself by on his ballot only.
I wonder why it came out of Boston. Eh?
Now there's a couple of guys that were still on the ballot that Paul.
So he left Mo off his ballot completely.
No. He only chose Mo. He didn't choose anyone else. So it's like,
so he kind of screwed over other guys like Larry Walker. I mean, not that he would have made it. But,
and the other thing too is that Dan Shaughnessy loves making things about himself. He loves making these stories about himself, and it's not like you can't, like, you don't want to be known as the one guy that didn't make him 100%, make Mo 100%. But there were other guys in the ballot that surely deserved a vote.
Sure,
you had like I've always been a huge Todd Helton fan. I thought that he deserved a bit more respect.
I don't think he's gonna make it, though.
No, it probably won't. Larry Walker,
Larry Walker next year is his last year.
Right, but on the last year, usually of these ballots is usually when there's a spike in the.
He had a 20% spike this year.
This year, yeah.
So I mean, it's good for Larry Walker. I really think he should get in. He's the best Canadian player we've ever had, right? And as Expos fans, I'm sure that we would love to see him get in as an Expo.
Absolutely.
He'll probably go in as a Rocky, though.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope Larry Walker gets in eventually. So who else is on the ballot that didn't get in?
Can't really think of it right now, but there's
what about the Roger
like
Clemens,
Juan
Barry
Pierre,
Bonds?
for example. Juan Pierre barely got 5%. There was
Juan Pierre
Andrew
won't get in.
Jones. Trying to think.
You mean Chipper
else.
Jones?
No, Andrew Jones with the U.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think there was also anyway. Well,
fuck it. So what about Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens? You think they get in?
So that's the other issue, is that Barry Bonds doesn't get in. Now I still think that there's going to come a time when there's going to be enough guys on this ballot that will have had PED issues in their past. But the thing with Barry Bonds is it was never actually proven.
I'm going to quote Nate Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's on steroids. It's true. Everybody's on steroids.
And
these are just the guys that got caught because Jose Canseco put their name in a book.
And it kind of drives me crazy that you look at the NFL and you'll have a guy that gets suspended for 4 games for PD, and then like a guy like Julian Edelman, for example, who is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day.
I hope so.
And
sure deserves it.
he has a PD expense, and in the NFL it's like what happens? It's a physical game, of course. But in baseball, man, it's like if you have even the sniff of that on your record, they don't want to have anything to do with it.
It's the huge asterisk. Like Alex Rodriguez, to me, is one of the best players I've ever seen.
But look,
he has that asterisk because he was on steroids.
But look at also Sammy Sosa, who's had those issues and also had a cork bat, which is maybe one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. But like those,
and he's got white skin now.
Right,
he's whiter than you.
Bleaching, yeah, and that's scary.
It's fucking weird to look at.
Look up a picture if anyone's
bleached
listening.
his
ass. I think
is he totally? Or is it just
I think that when you go skin bleach, you got to bleach everything.
So your asshole.
I think it got to go deeper than the butt.
So he's not brown anymore. His asshole's not brown. I mean, unless for other reasons.
And it's not just that. I mean, he's wearing cowboy hats and spurs, man. He's
he went all out
now. So will he get in? We'll see. I'm kind of hoping that there's a bit of shift in this, because as much as I could understand voters not voting for guys like Sammy Sosa or Barry Bonds, we got to also remember that the public also fueled this as well. We fueled the home run race. We really supported, in its heyday, we supported guys like Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire.
For sure. They made baseball interesting again.
Yeah, and then at that point, you had Barry Bonds that was saying, hey, like, I'm not getting the same kind of attention. Like, I got to do something to get up there. And, And anyway, so that's what I hope. But so far this year, Mariano Rivera, great news. I'm so happy for him. He's one of the greatest of all time.
I'm happy because we were able to see it,
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony being traded and then waived.
Yes. So he was traded to the Bulls?
To the Bulls.
Right.
And now they're going to waive him.
Now, I've been mixed feelings with Melo. I've always loved Melo.
I loved him in Syracuse.
I loved him in Syracuse.
Denver.
With the Knicks, it kind of spoiled it a bit for me, because as a Knicks fan, I kind of felt like that trade kind of ruined them for years to come. But now, that being said, I mean, it's not their fault that they, it's not.
They went after a superstar. I mean, in the NBA, you go after one superstar. Usually, it helps you.
It was also back. It was a different time. I mean, they gave up a lot of assets that could potentially be ruining them down the line. Now, so for Melo, the question is, will he eventually sign with LA?
I think that's what they're saying. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are saying now that LA is interested, Miami's interested. So we'll see what happens.
Miami makes a bit more sense. I kind of feel like LA has a bit of a cluttered roster.
Yeah.
Whereas Miami, like, they kind of got to get people in the seats at that point.
Yeah, exactly. But where does he fit? And then when you go to Miami, I mean, you have a lot of guys that request the ball on that side, right?
Oh, absolutely. And plus, Dion Waiters is complaining that he's not getting enough time, even
it.
if he took this crazy medical leave for the longest time. And
Yeah.
you have Gordon Dragic that's coming back as well. So, like, how is he going to fit into the lineup? I don't know. But I do feel like if there was a better fit for Melo, it would have to be the Heat. With the LA Lakers, the LA Lakers are not in a bad spot per se, but I feel like Melo needs the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
He has
to have the ball. And the thing is, he's lost a step. If he accepts his role as a secondary guy, I think he can help a team do well in the playoffs.
But he kind of did when he was at OKC, and it just didn't work so well. And
but he's not a secondary guy in OKC.
Right.
He's the third guy in OKC.
Exactly.
You're seeing what Paul George's numbers are this year. Last topic. We'll end there. A little something that you do for me and Peeze on the you keep us safe. You protect us from the stupidities we do. Sean McVay has his own guy that keeps him off the sideline. How dumb is the NFL for having this policy?
It's kind of crazy. I didn't even know this thing existed. And I know, when I was watching that Rams game this weekend, it was the first time I realized it. And at first I thought, I honestly back then I didn't know that there was an actual coach. What are they calling him? Like what's
he's the strength and conditioning coach, but Sean McVay has given him another
like
job.
He's like a homie back.
Yeah, he's given him another job because Sean McVay doesn't know where the refs are going.
Right.
So, and if you touch the ref, it's a penalty.
That's really a penalty.
Of course, it's a penalty because you're not allowed being that close to the field, right? You're not supposed to be on the field as a coach.
Is that ever since Mike Tomlin almost tripped a guy on purpose?
I think the rule was way before, but that was pretty funny. But he did it on purpose.
He did.
Sean McVay has a guy that pulls him back every time a ref is getting too close because Sean McVay is not paying attention to the ref. He's paying attention to the play. The get back coach. The get back coach.
Yeah, I do that for you and Peeze. That's exactly what I do.
The video has gone viral, and it's pretty funny to see because you just have this guy who's wearing a way too small T-shirt.
Yeah. Showing
off his guns, pulling Sean McVay back every time he gets close to the ref.
And the other thing about that clip that caught me by surprise is, man, their khakis are so tight.
It's crazy, huh?
It's so tight.
There's all kinds of bulge.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's packing some heat over there.
Not in LA. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right?
You got to do what you got to do. So we had a great show today, man.
Yeah.
Double dash.
Also, I hate Andy Reid. Terrible with timeouts. Patrick Mahomes is amazing. Stay spicy, stay hot. What else? Any last things?
You can follow me at Terry Tam. You can follow Peeze at PeezeFPF. You can follow you at
Hot Sauce Sports.
At Hot Sauce Sports. And thank you to Andy McNamara for coming on. He's on TSN 1050. He's on TSN 4 Rounds, his own podcast. Also, we had Mark Dumont on. You can follow him on Twitter at Mark P. Dumont for hockey. He's amazing. So thank you to those guys for coming on. Hopefully we have him on soon. And we'll see you guys next week. Keep it spicy.
You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.